having a process is step one. Following it's another. So managing people and guiding them through that process is key. And having expectations or the right expectations from your vendors, whether that's from pricing standpoint or quality and adhering to the deadlines that they need to adhere to. That's that's something we have to focus on the entire way through the project to make sure we hit the numbers.
Last week, I swear, Khalil, he didn't see the episode last week. We were talking about process and systems last week. I mean, it's
okay.
And we talk about that a lot right now, but you're right. Having that defined process, that's we're saying twice here, what Rich just said, an agreed upon method of how you're going to do things makes a lot of these costs predictable, right? And it's not just that we agree that we're going to set up and have a full dress rehearsal of every turnkey rental project we build. That might be, part of the macro process, but there's 25 or 50 steps in there of all the things each individual does about how we pull frames and how we set those up and what is how fabric graphics get ordered, how much time has to happen is allowed when we need that artwork, what pulling the lights, and you learn, don't just pull lights, pull the extension cords and pull the power strips and pull the multi-heads, but pull everything we're going to need. And what's that expression you always hear me say, Khalil? Good judgment comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. But Rich was a process guy from day one. It's one of the reasons I knew he was a great fit here. And he's one of the things you learn is, I think the individuals that work here in production, they appreciate having a defined process or understanding. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, they do. And I think it's human nature to want to be told how to do things, or just have some guidelines to work within. Managing whatever the process is. But if I'm just talking about pulling and prepping a booth in the back, it's the temptation is to go outside the process for everybody at every turn. I can do this a little faster, or I'm under the gun, so I'm going to skip this step. And whether there's a cost in the end of missing something or damage, or we're talking about here's how I can save a few bucks today on this process, it throws your mind for a loop. It throws, it's process is habit forming. Yeah. So if you don't stick to it, it doesn't work. You forget the process. So your habit now becomes breaking the process. So, having one is important, following is important, but managing through it and resisting that temptation that's key.
Khalil, a few episodes ago, you and I covered a topic called managing the unexpecteds, right? I know that everybody listening to this podcast right now, if you're in the event business, your job is critical thinking and managing unexpecteds, right? There's known in there as unknown. Rich worked through the weekend. We have a new partner, and we're doing a very large private event, big brand event where they're launching and reintroducing products to a large group of people. So I don't know, we had 15 or 20 different rental structures within that and a lot of different counters. So Rich when I said, how did everything go this weekend? He said, no, it went great, but I'll give you an example. And by the way, this ties right into profitability. You'll see what I mean. So Rich said, so some of the counters, if we had 24 counters out there, there's a series of them that were up against a wall. Well, the countertops that we make are what we call 3-sided rectangular tops. So one is flat against the back of the counter, designed to go up against the wall. And the other 3 sides have a 2-inch, an attractive overhang. It looks a little nicer and it's got a lip. Well, the client decides our partner decides they want to move, 3 or 4 of those counters out in the open where people can walk around them. Well, that's now an unfinished countertop on one side. So Rich runs back. We've got a lot going on in the shop. We have some inventory. We've made some others. Anyway, he grabs 3 4-sided countertops, runs them out. All's great. So I walk up there this morning and I'm looking at the whiteboard with all the projects for the day. And I go, Oh, I don't, but I hear the mill woodworking going in the mill. He goes, yeah, we're making 3 new countertops because the ones I took, right, were needed for some of the projects that we're shipping out here this week. So here's my question. Who pays for those 3 new countertops?
It's a great question, and it should be the customer, but a lot of
Which
companies
customer?
should be the customer that had an order change.
Okay. And so one of the things we talked about, we go, yeah, $150,000 event that we just gave you guys, and you're going to come at me for an order change on 3 countertops? I don't think so, new guy. Right. So that's what Rich is saying. And you go, okay, can't bill the new customer. And and Rich goes, well, these will probably just go into our additional inventory. And you go, okay. But my point is, just like that, gross margin is affected.
Yeah, I think it's the customer concessions like that that continually eat at your gross profit margin. It's what we're talking about today with the margin creep. It's whenever you concede to a customer, I mean, it's because of a fear that, oh, well, they're going to be mad at us, or, oh, well, that was kind of our fault, or whatever. I mean, if you can set the expectations ahead of time so that they're not unexpected, but hey, any additional changes that happen, we are gladly to do it, and we take care of things really fast. We also charge for that, though. And
And
if you
so
can
you
set that
think about
expectation above,
how about the guy that drives from the event,
well, I mean, yeah, think about it. How much time did that take away from Rich? How much time did that take away from
pulls
the
off?
process
How about
of
the
other
carpenter that
jobs? And
now gets called in to do
exactly.
right? So anyway, we're not, listen, we have a great life, and we're having a great year. And so it's easy to go, well, let's not sweat that. But if that happens 200 times a year, Khalil, right? What's the
Yeah,
real
it adds
dollar
up.
amount there?
Yeah, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure.